As we've just finished celebrating Memorial Day, symbolically, a preponderance of American flags lined our nation's streets as we all came together to acknowledge our patriotism and in remembrance of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. We saw Americans of all shapes and sizes, of all backgrounds, of all denominations, cheer, gather, and march under the flag that has flown proudly over this nation through good times and bad for 247 years. And of course, it's that very flag that has landed Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito back in the spotlight again this week, as he presides over the presidential immunity case that will have ramifications for Memorial Days to follow for a long time coming. And in just a few seconds, you're about to see that there are two new dimensions to this story that further draw into question Alito's judgment as a husband, as a homeowner, as a public figure, and especially as a Supreme Court justice during one of the most intense periods of American jurisprudence and cultural shifts we've ever seen. The latest twist in this saga involves both a jaw-dropping account of a New York Post reporter's encounter with a fiery Martha Ann Alito and the current subsequent rebuke by a prominent congressman and his call for a definitive and decisive action against Judge Alito. The new story and video you're about to see will put this flag controversy, shed a brand new light on it. At the center of the story is Martha Ann Alito. Before we check out the latest developments, let's take a moment to consider that the inverted display of an American flag was a symbol of insurgency carried by lawless, dangerous, ultra-conservative MAGA rioters on January 6th, as was the Appeal to Heaven flag. Whatever these flags may have represented in the past, on January 6th, on the week of the inauguration, and since then, they've become a banner for those who would overthrow the government and rebel with violence. Now, let's see how the story has evolved during the last week. It was reported that soon after the January 6th riot and during Biden's inauguration, a flag outside the home of Supreme Court Justice Alito was flown upside down after a belligerent altercation with anti-Trump neighbors. The New York Post covered this story at the time, but decided not to publish it. Now, the incredible details of that story have finally come to light over the weekend. And this is what we've learned. That when confronted by a reporter from the New York Post, Supreme Court Justice Sam Alito's wife, Martha Ann Alito, became visibly angry and began yelling despite the justice's attempt to guide her back to their car. The Post reports it as follows. Alito intervened and directed his wife into a car parked in their driveway where they had been headed on their way out of the neighborhood. The justice denied the flag was hung upside down as a political protest, saying it stemmed from a neighborhood dispute and indicating that his wife had raised it. After getting back in the car, she exited again and then brought out from their residence a novelty flag, the type you would typically decorate a garden with. She hoisted it up the flagpole and yelled, "There, is that better?" Natch, we would love to see video of that. It sounds like an episode of Real Housewives. But unlike those staged harmless antics, this sideshow is getting disturbingly real. Now there are new reports that have come out of another flag-waving incident. It's reported that the Appeal to Heaven, Stop the Steal flag, actually flew between July and September of 2023 at Samuel and Martha Ann Alito's seaside summer home. It flew for at least 3 months in full display for neighbors and passing by boaters to see. Now, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries joins a legion of politicians and citizens to call into question the judgment of 2 Supreme Court judges regarding the potential political predispositions of their wives.
Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas are totally out of control. These individuals continue to detonate the credibility of the United States Supreme Court. In the case of Samuel Alito, he definitively needs to recuse himself from any matter pending before the United States Supreme Court that has to do with the January 6th violent insurrection.
Given the current docket of the Supreme Court, this flag controversy is surely a signal of distress for many people. So, how will justice for the justice be served? Is removal or recusal appropriate? Maybe we should just run it up the flagpole of public opinion and see if it flies. Comment if you agree or not.